Bear with me, a temperate deciduous forest story by Anwita Kata, Daniel Jackson, and Kylie Tang. In a forest of rugged hills and gentle slopes so grand, lived Tucker the bear in a wonderful land. His thick furry coat and his huge digging claws made him quite special and important despite all his flaws.
But one day loggers came, wielding their might, leaving Tucker's home totally bare. What a sad sight! I must find a new home, Tucker thought with a sigh, as he walked away and said a final goodbye. Tucker knew that to help his new home survive, his keystone role was needed to keep life alive. By digging for roots, making a mess, and moving the earth, he aerated the soil in the forest, giving plants a new birth.
Through the woods he trudged, feeling lost and alone, past royal ferns with their fronds, in the shade they had grown. Their green leaves unfurled, cool and thick as a wall, shielding the forest from the sun's burning call. The air was crisp, with a hint of damp and chill, a temperate climate where the seasons shift at will.
He traveled for days through the snow, the wind, and the rain, till he found a new forest that eased some of his pain. Yet there in his path stood a doe who looked so prim. Irene was her name, and she glared straight at him. With keen eyes and cupped ears that could catch every sound, she watchfully stood on the forest ground.
Watch out, poison ivy's near, Irene cried, her voice filled with fear. Tucker stepped back, his paws a bit slow, as vines with oily leaves began to grow.
Oh my, what a mess! Irene stomped with distaste, as Tucker crashed through her neat home in his haste.
Your paws are all muddy, your fur is quite unkempt. From sharing my forest, you face my utmost contempt.
But little did Irene know that to her utmost woe, Tucker had to stay in her forest, for he had nowhere else to go.
So wise Alec Owl, from his oak perch, said, Irene, my friend, won't you listen to me? This bear needs a home, and your den's quite the spot. Why not share the space, give it all you've got? With feathers that camouflage in the night's silent hue, I've seen how the forest, with its cold, cold winds, can strew.
Claire, a porcupine, giggled and shuffled, saying,
Oh, Irene, don't pout. Give this bear fellow a chance. Though he's clumsy and messy, and frankly quite unrefined, perhaps there's more to him that you've yet to find.
With sharp claws for climbing, she nimbly scaled the tree, her quills providing protection as she settled comfortably, watching the scene unfold with ease.
Meanwhile, Swiper the fox, with his nose in the air, accidentally brought home with him some exotic bugs from a far market fair. As he scurried around, showing them off, his bushy tail flicked to maintain balance, while at least these fancy new beetles would class up this place.
Beetles, however, had plans of their own, like turning the forest into their new throne. These parasites had munched and they crunched with sophisticated flair, leaving trees without any of their luscious green hair.
The sugar maple, with its sap-rich veins, held strong as the beetles gnawed at the remains. On the other side of the forest, the black walnut tree with its fragrant, darkened shell kept its ground firm while the beetles tried to quell. All while Tucker and Irene squabbled and fussed.
Your muddy paw prints are all over my house.
Your rules are just so unjust.
These beetles held their meetings in bark-lined cafes, planning their next fancy tree-tasting soirees.
These beetles, are worse than my mess. They're eating our home like it's some kind of fest.
For once, your mess gives me hope. Your chaos may help us, or is this really just cope?
Now Tucker, you see, had a most special way of tidying up at the end of each day. He'd rumble and tumble and shake with such might that the dust bunnies scattered in pure panic flight.
Disappointed, Irene looked on.
But wait, that's it.
Irene gasped with a leap and a bound.
You're cleaning my chase these pests right out of town. Though your methods are absolute madness, I'll admit. Sometimes crazy solutions turn out to be it.
Tucker took the lead with a confident grin. He hugged each tree trunk in his big bearish way and shook them like smoothies on a hot summer day.
The beetles, who'd burrowed all snug in their spots, came tumbling down like a canvas of polka dots. They fell by the dozens, then hundreds, then more, creating what seemed like a carpet of beetles on the floor.
Each shake and wiggle sent more beetles flying, while Irene directed Tucker like a captain trying. The beetles, who fancied themselves quite elite, found themselves tumbling down to their feet. This quaking, this shaking, this wild jubilee, this simply won't do for bugs as proper as we. And so they left.
As the chaos settled, they felt a breeze sweep, and mountain laurels rose from the soil, waking from sleep. Resilient and hardy, they thrived in the shade, a symbol of strength. The forest balance was made.
So Tucker and Irene, once foes, now close friends, found love in the chaos where orderliness ends. She learned that some messes bring joy in their wake, while he learned that sometimes, well, cleaning isn't fake.
And deep in that forest of maple and oak, where mushrooms grow wild and the stream gently spoke, two different creatures found home side by side, proving love can indeed bloom where differences reside.
Kylie is the oldest in her family and enjoys spending time with family and friends. She's majoring in biochemistry at UT Austin. Her favorite food is sushi. She has a golden retriever named Charlie who is always by her side. A fan of reading, she spends her free time getting lost in books. Her favorite color is pink.
Anwita is the youngest in her family of 4 and loves to read books and watch movies and TV shows to pass time. Her favorite book is Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. She also loves to bake for her friends and family and likes to spend time with them on the weekends.
In his pastime, Daniel loves immersing himself deeply within the world of feminist literature. His favorite book is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. He's also been playing violin for 11 years and loves running track for the school.
This book is dedicated to the temperate deciduous forest biome due to the numerous threats from human activities like climate change, pollution, and deforestation through clear cutting. It is important to protect the forest so we can maintain biodiversity. This biome is also useful in reinstating balance in our ecosystem to keep our planet sustainable for our future generations. Temperate deciduous forests are vital for our planet. Primarily, they are key for providing food and shelter for many different animals like salamanders and porcupines. The ample supply of vegetation and trees in the forest will help subside the negative effects of the release of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. We can also decrease our carbon footprint by being less dependent on fossil fuels. In addition, we can limit ourselves to only using products that are certified by organizations like the Forest Stewardship Council. This council will make sure that the wood comes from reliable forests that are well managed. Finally, we can help reforestation efforts by advocating for programs that are replanting trees that were cut down.